all locked in now.
Your home for the best sports radio in Utah is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to kick off your afternoon drive with Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Allow me to introduce the best of the best.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is my favorite Michael Jackson song.
Not Dirty Diana.
No.
Okay. I thought you would have adjusted to the times.
No, I like...
Mrs. Rossini.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't get that for a second. No, this is.
Okay.
This is my favorite Michael Jackson music video, too.
Yeah.
Are you going to see the new successful biopic?
I will absolutely, at some point, maybe, throw it on at my house while I'm doing everything else that matters and not pay attention to it. But Michael Jackson made some real hits.
Are you not a Michael Jackson fan?
No, I love his music is unbelievable. It's no question. He's just one of the great musicians of all time and created some of the greatest pop music ever. And I don't need to know a lot about Michael Jackson, the person, beyond what we already know.
No, see, that's the thing. So I guess the movie cuts all of that out. It just stops at bad and then doesn't go into the Neverland, whatever that was, or doesn't go into any of that stuff. Does a movie hold that responsibility? Does a what is it, by the way?
A biopic. Yeah.
Do they hold that? Controversially, the Queen one, who was it? Sacha Baron Cohen turned down the role of Freddie Mercury because he said they weren't going to tell the real story. Because most of the times with these movies, the people themselves or the estates of the people who have control or have some say over what's going to happen, and they said that painted a really rosy picture of that. But a movie's entertainment, right? So does a movie owe it to its audience to include
everything? No, it doesn't. And even if you want to view movies as art doesn't owe you anything. Art gets to stand as whatever art wants to be. Which is why I actually am totally in defense of people who are like, yeah, I know Michael was apparently a disgusting person, but I like his music. Well, the art can be separate from the person. I do fully believe that.
I agree with that, too.
I think those two things can coexist or exist separately. But if you want to be offended by it or not like his music as a result, I think that's totally your choice as well. You've got that free will. But I do think I will always know watching this movie or whatever it is that like this is a false presentation of a person.
Now, you happen to be really into Kid Rock's politics, but if you weren't, could you still enjoy Ba with a Ba?
Ba with the Ba.
Could you still get down with that?
Yeah. Yeah, if I protested his thoughts, would I still like Ba with the Ba? And the answer is yes, because Ba with the Ba.
It's amazing.
How can you not?
What was the name of his friend who was always Joe C?
The little guy?
Joe C?
Joe C. Yeah. I think he's dead. But I saw somebody make a funny joke online, and funny in quotations. It was like, this is like making a biopic about OJ and ending it after he wins the Heisman. It's like, yeah,
no,
that's not OJ's story, actually.
It is exactly that. But does the movie owe that? Do they have to like the story of Rudy was not only an inaccurate depiction of how that story actually happened, but then they didn't include anything beyond when they graduated from college. Should they feel that responsibility?
Right. And no, my answer is they don't owe it to anybody.
No, I don't think so.
Because guess what? Somebody else can make a movie about the rest. In fact, there's an entire documentary about Michael Jackson, the disgusting person.
The estate got that scrubbed.
Yeah, what is it? Leaving Neverland or whatever it is. But, if what's his name? Who did I Believe I Can Fly? R. Kelly wants to do a movie of like, look at how I made it to the top. And that's the end of the story.
That's the end of the story.
I guess he can, but the R. Kelly documentary is out too. Like that story will be told. So, I also don't have a problem when somebody retires or passes away or whatever. If someone are like, hey, this is a part of his story. Kirby Puckett. I remember there was some controversy. It was the first time I remember it as a person being like, yeah, they brought up how he beat up his wife or whatever it was. And they're like, you're going to talk about this now, the day he died? It's like, he made these decisions. This is part of his story. He chose to do that. I think that's totally fair, too.
You can still enjoy the Hey song, even though it's Gary Glitter. Which actually has finally made its return to stadiums the past few years. Have you noticed that?
Well, because guys like Christian from Christian's generation, but Christian specifically, is a big Gary Glitter defender.
Well, you got mad at me for playing Diddy the other day.
I didn't get mad. I was just saying, can we still play Diddy?
Yeah, we just asked. And then, honestly, what was your response? I guess we still play Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
It was exactly what you said. That was off the air, but.
Which is fine. Yeah, I don't have to agree or endorse or any of that stuff.
Yeah. Or
But
mimic their lifestyle.
I just know that people are bent out of shape that they didn't include any of that stuff in the movie. That they so thoroughly scrubbed all of that. Some people are saying you're not telling the story. It's like, well, it's a movie. It's a 2-hour movie. I liked the Johnny Cash movie they made because they only picked 10 years of his life and really focused on it instead of trying to jam everything into a 2-hour movie. Or Bob Dylan. They just tell the story of his conversion to rock. That's it.
Right.
He did a lot of living after that.
Yeah.
Is doing a lot of living.
If your goal on your movie is to try and pretend Michael Jackson was a good person, I think that's disingenuous. But A, not, like you said, the first disingenuous movie that's ever been made. And B, it's not like it's hard now to find out what the true story of this person was.
I don't know how they portray Michael in the movie. I'm sure it's favorable. I'm sure it's his public persona.
Yeah. Yeah. The star.
He had a rough upbringing, too. I wonder how much of that
how
is
much
in
of the
there.
context they go into, why did we turn this person into a monster? Was it because of how he was brought up, or did he choose to become a monster?
I once randomly started talking with a dude who was one of the founding members of, I think it was United Concerts, but it was the first kind of big concert promoter here. And he was telling us stories about Old Man Joe. Rough. That was a bad dude.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Because the Jackson 5 would come through and he would get to see it. So. Anyway, I want to see the movie. Honestly, I'm a Michael Jackson fan.
I will not be going to the theater to see it, just because if I'm going to the theater, I have a finite amount of time to go spend 3 hours at a theater. That's not what I'm going to go watch. But I'm sure at some point I will turn it on in the background of my house.
Real quick, happy 5th birthday to my daughter Maggie.
Shout out.
It is her birthday today. But can I ask you this? I do not watch this show. Before we dive into the hockey, Stranger Things. It's what, an HBO show?
Netflix.
Have you seen it, Christian?
I watched the first 2 seasons and flamed out.
I've seen every episode.
My 5-year-old has a friend that watches it all with Stranger Things with her parents. Which I'm not judging the parents or anything, but I don't know anything about the show, but I'm surprised a 5-year-old can digest it.
Probably can't.
Wouldn't it be terrifying for a 5-year-old?
A, it is a little scary, and B, there is just there's a lot of death. There's a lot of, I don't want to say adult themes, but it's a pretty busy story. I'm sure a 5-year-old has no idea what's going on.
You let your kids watch whatever. That's up to you. I'm not judging. I was just surprised that the 5-year-old would be on board to sit through such a show.
Yeah. Well, totally with you.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm wearing my purple shirt today in honor of my daughter Maggie, who picked this out. We surprised her with a new bike this morning, so it was pretty cool. Pretty cool morning.
Big day.
Big day. Shout out to her. I can't believe that was 5 years ago.
Maybe by next year, no training wheels. We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
By the way, you know what still sucks?
Happy birthday, Maggie.
That was nice.
Oh, I like this edition.
Was that authentic? We got a voiceover person to come in and do that?
No, just Google Translate.
Will you have to type it in French first to get it in English?
Yeah. Did you have
Feliz cumpleaños, Maggie.
Oh man, shout out to her. She's excited about her birthday. So real quick. We're of course going to go to Chili's tonight for dinner. It's now becoming a thing. And my 8-year-old said this morning, my other daughter goes, I wonder if Maggie will make Taylor Swift wait this year.
Sassy. After making
Post Malone.
Was that last year?
That was last year.
Nice. I hope so.
Yeah, the server came back to her and she goes, hey, I don't want you to feel any pressure. You guys don't have to leave. You open her gifts. But Post Malone is waiting for your table in the waiting area. It's like, wow. All right.
Wait, I was out at this time last year. That happened?
Yeah, that happened.
Huh, you were not around for this story?
No, I was in Disneyland.
Okay.
No, that happened. We had family dinner for Maggie's birthday, so we were at one of the big tables. And yeah, we're just eating our meal, and the server comes up to us, and she couldn't have been cooler. She was like, you guys take your time, but just so you know, Post Malone is waiting for you. So we saw him as we were leaving, and my nieces and nephew got like a picture and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, but my daughter kept Post Malone waiting. You stay on ice, Posty. It's Maggie's birthday.
It's 4th birthday.
Settle down, pal. In all honesty, it appeared that the dude couldn't have been cooler about it.
Every report is he's like a good guy. So
See,
his
like,
biopic better than Michael's.
dude, a scene included in his biopic better be the time he had to wait at Chili's.
For a 4-year-old.
For
And
a
did it
4-year-old.
willingly.
And did it willingly.
Michael's renting out Disneyland to close everybody off.
Yeah, right.
Posty's waiting with the rest of us.
So anyway, I wonder if Maggie's going to make Taylor Swift
Somebody.
wait this year. It's
I
got
would love
she's
if Taylor came to Chili's and Holiday or wherever you get Fourth South, and
but making Posty chill. That's a high bar.
it's a great story.
It is a great story.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, Ben. Any thoughts on the hockey game tonight?
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, this is big. Again, I told you yesterday I enjoy that this is a quicker turnaround. The 2 days off feels bizarrely long, especially for a first round series. I just like the action going. Get these guys back out on the ice. Looked like Cole Bagley had the video. I think Barrett Hayton was out skating on the ice. Now he was kind of doing extra skating by himself, but sounds like he was out of the non-contact jersey, so I wonder if we'll maybe see some more healthy bodies. Obviously very interested to see what happens with J.J. Paterka and if he gets back in this lineup or how Bear decides to change what's going on. But, man, I like talking about playoff series. This is one of the funny things that you and I, in our run together doing the show, which we started, 2021?
Yep.
We got the very last year of Donovan and Rudy, and it was just like such a lousy playoff run where you knew this was just like
It was a lousy year, really.
it was a lousy year. You recognized that this was a dying star that was about to be, collapse in on itself, and it did. And how long did that series last? 5 games? Maybe it was 6 games. I can't remember. Jazz lost at home, so
The young Brunson dominated.
it must have been Game 6. It was a home game because the Jazz, I don't think, had home court advantage in that series. That's the only extended local playoff series you and I have been able to talk about, and I miss. Just from a radio standpoint, I like breaking down series on the radio. I like talking about how they grow and change and evolve, and it's actually more interesting than, well, the Mavericks are in town tonight, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers are in town tonight, and then the Bulls are in town, and there's just you just get little pieces that you can break down a little bit. I like getting to know the players on the other team. I like developing the storylines. And now having a quicker back-to-back here where it's just it's about the hockey now. As much as you want to make adjustments, and Bear will, and Tortorella will, puck's got to go on the ice, and someone's got to go win these games. And they've been very evenly matched. That's why they're 2-2 now, headed back to Vegas. And I like watching what the outcome's going to be and then breaking it down.
And we could talk about those adjustments. I think what's kind of cool about this series, and I've talked about this a lot, but the relationship between Salt Lake and Vegas, and how I think it's cool that they are playing Las Vegas in the first round, and maybe that can be, even though they're not in the same division, maybe that can be kind of a rivalry or a thing. And even though I'm not here for the Vegas, the city hate, the interaction between the fans has been interesting. But my mother flew to Vegas today.
Okay.
Not for the game, just flew to Vegas. Plane apparently was just chock full of Mammoth fans. So wearing their sweaters and the whole thing. Anyway, I'm super stoked they're playing Vegas in the first round. I think that actually really adds to it. And the fact that tickets were cheaper at T-Mobile.
Are they?
They were at the beginning of the series anyway. I think says something. But anyway, an opportunity for Mammoth fans to step in and fill the void. And it's so easy to get to Vegas. I mean, how cool would that be if you saw Game 4 here and then jump on the old plane or shoot in the car, make the short drive, go catch Game 5 down in Vegas? I think it's awesome. We
have not had, I don't want to say not elite level sports locally. BYU basketball has been very relevant. BYU athletics in general has been very relevant. Utah football has been going through a weird period with all the WIT stuff, and they've still been very competitive, but weren't great. And the Cam Rising down year was obviously very bizarre, and Utah underachieved. So I'm happy, honestly, locally for fans that there is kind of a big story. And actually one of the funny things about the Mammoth that is pretty similar to the Jazz, even though I think the Jazz have kind of soured some people and they'll come back around, but Mammoth are a really easy story to root for if you're a local fan, right? It's easy to pick them up casually. You're not picking either BYU or Utah. There's no real history. Like, there are people who don't like the Jazz right now because they don't like the Angels, or they may not like how Ryan has changed the team from the Millers. But that doesn't carry over to the Mammoth because no one else has owned the Mammoth before Ryan, and there's no real pain to the backstory. There's not real long-term familiarity with any of the players or the front office members. So I think it's something that while I'm not sure it's taken a full stranglehold in the market the way the Jazz have, and certainly Utah and BYU and that rivalry has, I do think this is an easy team right now for our community to root for, and I like seeing our community come together like we saw on last Friday when we were out on the plaza. I do personally, as a Utahn, enjoy that. And so hearing that people are going down to Vegas and all their sweaters and gearing up, I think is really cool. And that's a part of this story that I'm personally enjoying the development of the story, regardless of what happens on the ice.
Are there people out there that don't like the Angels? I haven't heard that from Jazz fans.
I mean, every Facebook respond is just like, Trader Danny has ruined the Jazz forever. It's like, are you just a mad person on Facebook, or are you a one-time diehard Jazz fan who now doesn't like them? I don't know.
Because I get the sense the vast majority of Jazz fans, and not to change this to a Jazz conversation per se, are pretty understanding of the rebuild and all of that.
No, it might just be angry people online who are finding something to be angry at.
Like I'm really surprised how understanding the fan base was through the rebuild process. Way more understanding than not.
I think so too. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the building was still sold out.
All right. I just haven't heard that a ton. But then again, I'm not that online.
And I'm not trying to pretend that it is permeating the culture to a point where like Jazz fans aren't showing up. They are showing up. And then as soon as they're a playoff team again next year, it's going to be a huge, they're going to be a huge story again, and the fans will come back the same way they've circled around for the Mammoth. But there's not even like the contextual aspect of figuring out how to root for the team, the way people are going to have to figure out how kind of to root for the Jazz again. There's almost this like enjoyable naivete.
But the community thing you're talking about, I think the Jazz scratched that itch too.
Big time. Oh, big time. And they will, but they haven't for the last 4 years.
Because they haven't been as good. But
so I'm glad for fans locally that they're getting it.
Who was it? I first heard it from Tom Curl, the great Tom Curl of the Warehouse, but I'm sure he picked it up from somewhere. But, you have red and blue and you mix it together and you get purple, and it definitely makes a lot of sense. And that is true, I think, about the Mammoth as well. And that's the fun part about pro sports. I like the divided part too, though. I don't think people often get caught up in that as a negative thing. I think the BYU-Utah rivalry is great.
100%.
I think it's great, and it's actually what's the opposite of divisive? Inclusive.
Yeah.
It's inclusive in you're both participating in the same event. You're just on opposite sides of it, which can be super fun.
But it doesn't turn you into enemies. Maybe for a week it's silly to trash talk or whatever. But yes, I'm totally with you.
Now, there's some drunken idiots and some, I don't know, I guess on the BYU side they wouldn't be drunken idiots, but some people that misbehave.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of it, I think, is healthy too. It's great. It's the great part about sports. And I do think it's important for the Mammoth to land in the community culture. This is their opportunity to do that. And they need to do that to succeed, because the newness wears off eventually. You got to give people reason to buy in. Mm-hmm. And you got to give people experiences, and you've got to give people storylines. And it doesn't even always have to be about wins, but you got to give people something to buy into, some reason to put their Mammoth flag out or wear their sweater to work or whatever the case is.
Yeah, totally.
And they're in the process of that, but I mean, it is a thing. You got to land in the culture. You got to become a thing. You can't be, God, what was the name of that ABA team that moved to town when I first got started? It's owned by Ike Austin.
Oh, man, I don't remember this at all.
It didn't land in the culture, did it?
Yeah, I believe it.
So, I mean, not the NHL and the ABA are far different things. But they've got to land. They've got to land in the community. They've got to land here. And I've told you that a lot of the people that I've known that have really gone headfirst into hockey were already hockey fans and from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. They need to land with people who, like you and I, who spend most of our lives here, who haven't necessarily had hockey as a part of our sphere. And how do you get into that? And having exciting playoff games is a good way to start.
Yep. And where, BYU and Utah and the rivalry and, the regular season is cool and whatever you're building up to makes sense. And you can make a little NCAA tournament run or you can go to the college football playoff, which we've not seen either of our local teams do yet. But there is something fun about like the sustained 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 week stretch of a playoff run that I remember being young because I grew up here and, Jazz fever taking over the city, especially the finals years. And it seems to just grow in momentum. I remember when the University of Utah makes the Final Four and makes the national championship game where like every further step you take, the excitement grows, the community seems to grow, the sense of what's going on seems to get more and more special. And as we're getting to Game 5 and inevitably Game 6 coming back here on Friday, I think you are starting to feel that pressure, but also that community grow. And I like that as a person who gets to participate in sports and enjoy sports, and I like to see it reflected by our community.
Do you remember that Show Me the Title campaign? Never liked that.
Okay.
Like that?
It just seemed like, oh, hey, Jerry Maguire is a big deal right now. It was like a meme before a meme really existed.
There's virality before that existed.
And they're like, how about if we just change the word money to title?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Run with it.
Well,
But I remember it.
it stuck. It did its job because I remember exactly what you're talking about. I was
Yeah.
12 at the time.
Christian Jerry Maguire was a movie in the mid-'90s starring Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr. And a very young, just on the scene, Renee Zellweger.
Yeah.
And some little kid who's got to be 50 now.
Jonathan Lipnicki.
Is that his name? All right. Anyway, it was directed and written, I believe, by Cameron Crowe,
That's right.
the same guy who did Almost Famous.
And the guy who Jerry Maguire is based on used to love jumping on the radio. He was
I-
always available to come on.
I've heard it's not about that dude. Terrell Owens' agent,
Whatever. I've talked.
Drew Rosenhaus.
No, a different guy.
Oh,
no, the
different
guy who it's actually based on, who I've talked to, I've interviewed in a past radio show, and loves to come on, loves to be available to talk about being who Jerry Maguire is based on.
Have you seen that movie, Christian? All
Nope.
jokes aside, really? Oh, you should watch that one. You would like it. It's good.
I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, it's entertaining. And if you're a sports fan, you'll obviously like it.
Yeah. Lee Steinberg.
Oh yeah, Lee Steinberg. He was Steve Young's agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a legend. Is it based on him?
But he's around. He's just like kind of available. It would make sense that he'd be around in Utah with the Steve Young connection.
Yeah. Steve
would
Young.
make
He's
sense.
been on DJ and PK a bunch. But yeah, sports agent grows like a heart. It's a good story.
That does sound funny.
Some of the most iconic moments of all time. And certainly Cuba Gooding Jr.'s best.
Oh, he won the Oscar.
Yeah.
And Jay Moore is in it. He's the bad guy.
Yeah, it's funny. It's worth watching.
I mean, usually explaining these sorts of things to Christian is kind of a joke. I'm actually surprised you haven't seen that one.
Oh, I mean, it has some of the most famous lines of the 90s of any movie. I mean, Show Me the Money, You Complete Me, like You Had Me at Hello. Those are all Jerry Maguire, right?
Oh, and it's kind of a sappy romance tale, so your wife may like it too, Christian.
Yeah, this is some, yeah, for sure. Throw it on.
So you need to put Almost
and
Famous.
cute little kid,
Almost-
Jonathan Lipnicki.
Almost Famous is number one
That's
on
the
your
best
list.
Cameron Crowe.
And then you need to do Jerry Maguire too.
Okay.
Go home.
Don't bother with Vanilla Sky. It's not very good.
Go home to your wife and say we're doing a Cameron Crowe marathon this weekend.
Uh-huh.
We're starting with We Bought a Zoo. We're
I
going
have
down
seen
through
that
any of
one.
it. I've not seen that.
I haven't seen that one either.
No.
Don't bother.
Horrendous.
No, start with Almost Famous and then go to Jerry Maguire.
And then end there and pretend those are the only movies Cameron Crowe ever made.
Oh, no. Fast Times at Ridgemont
Oh,
High
okay,
is
yeah,
great.
you're right. My apologies.
Coming up next, top three stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Joining us, let's see, at 4:30, we're going to talk to Don Williams. He covers the Raiders of Texas Tech. He'll be on with us at 4:30. And then Mike Folta with us live at 5 at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. So big day on the Jake and Ben Show. Top three stories next, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top three stories of the day on KSLSports.com. On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake, Scott, Ben, Anderson. Time for the top three stories of the day. KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number one, AJ Dybantsa reveals his signature Nike logo.
This actually is kind of a big deal in the sense that they don't do this for every player. Now, probably maybe more than they should, but there's not a lot of guys coming out of college that get a logo the way AJ is getting a new logo. And you can go find it at KSLSports.com or on our Instagram page. We've got it all. But I do think it's a real sign of, like, how much there's a belief that he's going to be a huge star, and they're willing to invest in him early.
I will amend your take just slightly, and
Okay.
I think you'll agree with it, though. There aren't that many Nike rookies that get their own logo.
Sure.
Adidas will give their logo to anybody
Sure.
because they have like 5 clients. And I mentioned that because everybody tried to make a big deal out of Adidas doing it with Donovan Mitchell. And it was a big deal, but it's Adidas. They were desperate. They're desperate to get stars, and so they invest really early on young players. Whereas Nike, they don't do that. You have to kind of earn your way before Nike's willing to give you the special treatment. And so to get a logo from Nike coming out of college, I think is an extra big deal, actually.
And the fact that it's from Nike. Now, there are players
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that develop their own, like you said, logo. You remember last year Ace Bailey had the Ace hardware store logo on some of his shoes. And people are like, Nike has debuted the Ace logo. It's like, no, they didn't. And while he said they were working on it, I don't think they ever revealed an official Ace logo. Yeah, Nike tries to be a little more particular about who they invest in and how they market them. While they sponsor probably 60+% of the NBA players as like whose shoes they're going to wear, they're very specific about who becomes a face of the organization.
Has their own, I'm not a shoe guy. Who has their own Nike shoe right now?
LeBron, Kobe obviously did. It's not a lot.
Paul George did at one point. I know because Zion.
Giannis.
Giannis. Giannis has his.
Cade Cunningham.
Okay. Yeah, and Cade's was new this year. That was like
Devin
a big
Booker.
deal.
Okay, Devin Booker. Yeah, it's not everybody though. Being the point.
No, the fact that you're not like, yeah, I got the Jordan Clarksons.
Because
They don't do
remember, Paul George was worried about it because Zion blew out his ankle or hurt his ankle because his shoe exploded. Do you remember that whole thing? And Paul George was like, I hope this doesn't reflect bad on me. I like my shoe.
6 to 8 players is what a very quick Google search says. And yeah, LeBron, KD, Giannis, Ja. That's the mistake.
That's going away.
Devin, Cade, Jason Tatum, and Luka Doncic. But Tatum and Doncic both get it through the Jordan brand. So again, to go with AJ and put him coming out of college among the likes of these
It says
players
something.
says how much they're investing in him to step in and be a star. And he certainly has the opportunity. You know, The Athletic just released a new mock draft with Sam Vecini, their mock draft guy, and they've got him at number 1. We had Kristen Peak on the show yesterday. She's got a new story out today. She says everything she's hearing is AJ's going to go number 1 overall. It makes sense. I think he is going to be the number 1 overall pick, and we'll figure out where he's going a week from Sunday.
Listen, we talk about BYU and their journey and NIL, and one thing that we don't talk about nearly enough that matters, particularly in basketball, and this is an example of that. BYU is not only a Nike school, but they are a Nike Tier 1 school, and they are a Nike school that signed with Nike before Nike was Nike. Mm-hmm. So they love and always have BYU. Even when BYU was in the Mountain West Conference, Ben, do people know how shoe deals work? There's a Tier 1 shoe deal, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Tier 1, you get gear, and you get money.
Yeah.
Tier 2, you get gear. Tier 3, you get coupon for the Nike store.
BOGO.
You get, here's 10% off for you and your entire team.
Correct.
That's how it works.
That's why Utah is stuck with Under Armour.
Utah was a Tier 2 Reebok school, but I don't think they've ever been a Nike school. But they were a Tier 2 school forever. The entire Mountain West Conference was a Tier 2 whatever they were. BYU has always been a Tier 1 Nike school. And now that NIL is a thing, and now that BYU is in the market for some of these big-time players, being a big-time Nike school played into AJ Dybantsa going to BYU.
No question about it.
It absolutely did.
Yep.
And because Nike said, go to one of our places, and we're going to love you. I mean, I don't know how far AJ's relationship with Nike goes back, but I'm guessing it's, early teens?
3-4 years, yeah.
More than that, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, 4 years ago, he was 13. So
Oh, yeah.
it's
Do
not
the
that
math.
old.
Yeah, don't do math on the air. But certainly his AAU years, I'm not sure. I'm sure his AAU team was a Nike team. Anyway, point being, that plays a role in BYU's success, and we don't talk about that a whole lot.
No, it's the dirty secret of all of college athletics that you have picked you've picked us from a select few schools based on what their shoe sponsor is or what they're thinking. Yeah, because you're a Nike school and you're going to go there. And it doesn't always happen. Cooper Flagg is a New Balance guy and couldn't wear them last year, but was still getting paid by New Balance and does some ads. So it's not always the case, but I think Cooper Flagg is the exception to the rule, maybe even the exception that proves the rule. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell going to Louisville as an Adidas school and then getting his own signature line of shoes. None of that's coincidental, other than he became good enough that they were happy to give it to him.
Guarantee his AAU team was an Adidas team.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I go back to, and sorry, we don't have to dwell on this, but I remember when Frank Martin left Kansas State for, where'd he go, Ben? Do you remember? It was a lateral move at best. It was like South Carolina or something. I said, why on earth did he do that? And you look into it a little bit. Kansas State flipped their shoe from Nike to something else, and his AAU feeder program was a Nike school. So he left to go to another Nike school.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep. Tons of power.
Next.
Number 2, NBA playoffs. Your guy, AR, might be back tonight.
We will see as the Lakers try to close out this series without letting it go on any further. They are at home. That is the late game against the Rockets. They lead 3-1. Cavaliers taking on the Raptors, also battling to break that tie, tied at 2-2 going back to Cleveland. And the Magic hoping to go on the road and close out the Pistons in what would be pretty shocking 8-1 upset. Maybe not the most because, as you mentioned, Detroit had a very good year. No doubt about it. I think even a week before the playoffs, we were talking about how Boston is the team to beat. Boston is going to be the best team to come out of the East as long as they stay healthy. Better than Detroit, better than New York, better than Cleveland, certainly. So I don't think anyone would be totally stunned if Detroit loses in the first round, but it's still a major upset.
It is. I was telling you going into the playoffs, though, that Detroit was vulnerable, and they're proving that. Boston, though, is playing with their food. What are they doing?
I know. They absolutely no-showed yesterday.
They got
lost,
stomped.
I mean, it was like a 16-0 run in the fourth quarter. They scored 11 total points in the fourth quarter. And yeah, man,
Against the Sixers, by the way. Sorry.
I look at, and now that series is 3-2 and is headed back to Philly for a Game 6. And Joel Embiid's back, and this is why they talk about it. If you have the best player on the floor, you can win a playoff series. Joel was the best player on the floor last night. It was that simple. They didn't have an answer for him. As good as Neemias Queta has been this season, he's been a revelation for the Celtics.
He's way smaller than Joel.
But Joel's just a freak.
He's huge.
I mean, Joel's just a monster body. He's the closest physical comp to Shaq we've had since Shaq, and he's not that big, but he's as close as we've seen. And he can bully you, and he's, we were talking about Shaq's lack of offensive talent last year. That's not the case with Joel.
Lack of
skill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Joel is freakishly talented. His skill level is through the roof. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can pass, he can do a lot. But he can be the best player on the floor any given night. He's just so rarely on the floor, which is why he's got an MVP but has not won a championship. But Celtics playing with their food is dangerous.
And then Captain Jack had a stinker as the Knicks blew out the Hawks 126-97. Captain Jack's team was not ready to go.
Captain Jack is Quinn Snyder, by the way.
Are you jealous that you didn't come up with that one?
Big time.
Huge, yeah.
Big time.
But
I'm totally stealing it.
Not so stubborn that you're not going to be like, well, I didn't make it up, so it's not good.
Oh, absolutely not. No. What? Who was that bozo on TV that came up with Stinkin' Riley?
Yeah, Skip Bayless.
Skip Bayless.
Yeah,
that guy's an idiot,
fans.
but that's an amazing nickname.
Stinkin' Riley's the funniest thing anyone's ever called anybody. So we stick with Stinkin' Riley, and we'll stick with Captain Jack for Quinn Snyder from here on out because CJ Miles called him that once, and I had somebody tweet at me and say, I think Buddy Hield came up with it. So shout out Buddy Hield, if you did indeed.
No, CJ McCollum.
What did I say?
CJ Miles.
CJ McCollum, pardon me.
CJ McCollum. I didn't hear that part that Buddy Hield came up with.
That was what somebody had said he had heard. So I don't know.
That is so funny.
Really funny.
And so right on. I'll absolutely steal that. 100%. I can't believe the Hawks just decided not to play defense, I guess. Just don't guard anybody. Well, Jalen Brunson may have had the most efficient game of his entire life.
Yeah, he's
15 of 23 and 3 of 5 from 3 for 39 points.
And again, the bad news is the Hawks are designed specifically to be able to slow him down. You've got Dyson Daniels, who's one of the better perimeter defenders in the NBA, and Nikhil's a very good perimeter defender. And yeah, he just went off. And the Knicks do have this high wire act. They can go up there and have absolutely nonsense games, and in a series they go 6 and maybe 7. And they have nights where you're like, oh yeah, that team looks like it could make the finals. Like it could push through the East. And last night was an example of that. But then they have nights where you're just like, I don't know what they are. So I can't bet on them night to night.
Did you see Celebrity Row at the Knicks game?
No, I did not.
was full of what the Shema whatever was there. Ben Stiller was there. Tracy Morgan.
Okay. Yeah.
Who else? Who am I
Spike,
missing?
obviously.
It was
Kylie Jenner was with Timothy.
Yeah. And I was just trying to think.
Oh, Chalamet is what you were trying to figure out how to say. You just kept calling him Shema. I was like, what are you talking
Shamada?
about? Yeah.
What's his name?
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Chalamet. Now, geez, you've got me all
Chalamet?
mixed up. And I like Chalamet,
The Bob
Ben
Dylan
looks
guy.
just like him.
apparently. Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet.
Shama?
Chalamet. Chalamet.
He did the ping pong movie, right?
He did. Made by the same guys who made Uncut Gems.
But got snubbed. Oh, then I'm
It's a
definitely.
Safdie. And no, it has the exact same feel.
Does it really? Oh, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it's the exact same movie.
Is it?
But
So,
with ping pong instead of sports gambling.
so he didn't get the Oscar for the sports gambling, so he just remade the movie to try and get it with the ping pong, just like Scorsese did with Gangs of New York.
Well, yes, the Safdies, yes. And I think they might have won an Oscar. I can't remember if they got shut out or not. But anyways, neither here nor there.
I know Chalamet.
Chalamet,
He did not get it.
he did not.
No. But I thought, who's made the most stinkers out of all those guys? It's got to be Ben Stiller, right? Tracy Morgan's probably made some stinkers.
He's made some stinkers. He's not in that many movies, and people loved 30 Rock. He's very funny on SNL.
Well, 30 Rock was incredible.
Yeah. So, but he's not like a big movie star. He's done some movies, obviously.
All right, what's next?
Stiller, though, yeah, some stinkers. You know, Spike Lee has some duds as well.
For example?
Apparently his new one this year with I didn't see it. This new one with Spike or with Denzel is terrible. That's what people said.
Okay.
To the point where nobody saw it.
All right,
And Denzel's like one of the biggest movie stars of all time, and nobody saw this movie.
next.
Number 3. Sounds like the NCAA tournament is going to expand.
Where's the meow song?
It's called Highest to Lowest is the new Spike Lee joint. It got good Rotten Tomatoes, but nobody liked it.
What are they going to now? 74, Christian?
I think it might be 72.
It is expanding to 76. Both of you
76.
were
We were
off.
both wrong. Yep, look at it right here.
You know what? Finally, we get everybody else in this tournament. Finally, we added 12 more teams to this thing. It's the NCAA has initiated the final steps to expand, per ESPN, the men's and women's basketball tournaments to 76 teams. The expansion, which has been discussed for well over a year, is on track to be formalized in upcoming weeks.
I saw Wilner advocate.
We'll start next season.
I saw Wilner advocate for John Wilner, the Hammer, from where does he write? The San Jose Mercury News?
Probably.
Does that sound right? He was advocating for Salt Lake to be the Dayton of the West.
Okay.
What do you mean, okay? Does that interest you?
No.
To host the first four or first four be a venue for first four in the NCAA tournament every year?
No.
That doesn't have any appeal?
No, because I like that we get the real tournament every 6 years or whatever it is. And I would prefer that. And the second you become Dayton, you cannot become the location of the entire first round every 6 years. And selfishly, I would rather have that because what do you do with all the play-in tournament games? You make fun of them.
Well, I don't like them either, but it
So
would
all
be
you do is tease 'em.
It would be something, and it would be here. And the first round games aren't that important either.
Yeah, but it's like kind of the opening event, and it's exciting to have it over at Delta Center, and people enjoy going to those. Are people going to go to the play-in tournament games? I mean, yeah, probably. No, I would honestly rather, if I had to pick between them, I would rather have once every 6 years have the entire or this side of the bracket or this quarter of the bracket personally. But I'm also not a fan, and maybe some people do want to go see whoever they. And remember, no, I don't, because the first four or whatever they're calling this, and now it's going to be what is it? The first 18?
First eight.
First 8. It's just to screw over actual colleges that earn their way in to make sure they don't make deep runs. It's just to where you put, mid-majors to make sure that they don't end up in the Final Four. They've designed this as exclusively to pretend, what a gift. We're giving you more spots to come in when really they should just be in the 64-team tournament in the first place, and they've hurt them.
No, it's for the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th place teams in the Big Ten.
If you have to. Yeah,
it's
you'll get
not
one of those
for-
teams.
yeah, it's- well,
and then
it-
an AQ from the smallest from the Missouri Valley.
No, that's all this is. It's stuffing more big conference teams into the tournament.
But yeah, that's what
all-
these
that's
new
the
12
point.
teams are.
Yeah.
And they're trying to say, like, look, that means more access for everybody. No, the everybody they're talking about is like, we were really mad that, who was it? Tennessee? Who was Bruce Pearl mad at? Auburn?
Auburn.
Why didn't we make it? Did you see how well we played in the NIT? We should have been team 74 in this 76-team tournament. All right.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
Whatever. So I hate to be angry at everything, guy, and I'm not trying to. I generally try to not view most things through that lens, but this is ridiculous. This is stupid, and I actually think it hurts the teams that deserve a chance to have a real opportunity to advance.
Coming up on the show at 4:30, he covers Texas Tech. Don Williams is going to join us. And then Mike Folta is going to be on the show at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Stay tuned. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All systems go. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you about the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. We're teaming up with Beehive Meals to honor people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at kslsports.com/contests. Listen every Thursday to Jake and Ben. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Ben, news coming out today. Prince Salamani himself, I'm guessing.
Did you talk to him?
Is pulling all the dough out of LIV Golf.
Well, they've lost.
Oh, wait, that's not his name. What is it? Bin Salman?
Chamalay, I think is what it is.
Don't try. MBS, right?
Yeah,
Is
whatever.
the name of that guy? But anyway, the what do they call it? The fund, the Saudi fund that was basically propping up LIV. They're not going to prop them up anymore. And even though LIV has kind of said, "Hey, we're going to keep going,"
Are you?
they're really not.
How?
Which
How do you plan on continuing to go with no money?
Which honestly brings up this thought. Did you hear Alex Jensen with Scotty and the coach earlier today? The head coach of the Utes jumped on and he talked about building. And he talked about wanting to get back to where it was in the 90s. And then he compared it to his time with the Jazz and how, things that Frank Layden and Karl Malone and John Stockton did are still – you still see the effects in that building today, even though that was 20-some years ago now, right? And so he needs to rebuild the youth program, and it was talking about building in a general sense because youth basketball is not only the players that are currently playing, but it's all the players, Alex included, and Rick Majerus and all that who built the program, right? And when I remember our show when LIV was basically announced or whatever, Ben, and we talked about all these players and whether they'd leave and whether they'd stay, and the players were whining about the PGA Tour, and the players were saying that they were bigger than the tour, and they weren't getting their just compensation because they were so great, and the tour is just this evil thing that is keeping everybody down. And we talked about, is it the platform or the player, and where is the value? And, the truth is in both, right? But it certainly was not what the golfers were saying. Now, these LIV golfers are putting millions and millions of dollars in their pocket and basically stole it from Saudi Arabia. So good for you, I suppose. But you know what? Bryson DeChambeau was not bigger than the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour won. The platform was bigger than the players.
No question.
Phil Mickelson is not bigger than the PGA
Rahm
Tour.
Emanuel quite literally disappeared.
John Rahm.
John Rahm.
Rahm Emanuel is the former
also
mayor
disappeared.
of Chicago, who's very much with us, not disappeared.
We don't know what he's doing. Thank you.
I think he's going to run
John
for president. But
Yeah, better win.
no, he fell off the map.
He fell off the map.
Excellent example.
Wrong name, excellent example. Thank you. He was one of the 3 greatest golfers on the planet for a 2 or 3 year stretch. Went to LIV, never heard from him.
Yeah.
And in fact, it threw him off so badly, it's hard to even care that he's back.
Now, part of Phil Mickelson's, and these comments became public, part of his motivation for doing all of this and partnering with LIV was to create change within the PGA Tour. And at that, they were successful. The PGA Tour did have to reform some things, not everything the players wanted to, but you're looking at bigger purses and some other stuff where players, different requirements for how many events you play and things like that. So they listen to a few of the gripes from the players, but make no mistake, the PGA Tour won this, and those players that were crying about all of it found out that no, they were not all the value, that the platform was more valuable than the player. And LIV bet on these big names and then just filling in the rest of the tour with a bunch of shoe clerks and having rock music and shorts, and they were going to take the world by storm, and it was a pipe dream from the beginning for everybody involved. This was a doomed failure from day number one.
Never got any TV viewership of any real kind that mattered, which is where the money comes back to. You can try and sports wash all you want, and you can have seemingly unlimited funds from the oil money or whatever this Saudi fund, it's got to be what it is, but wherever it comes from. And still, when they look between 2022 and 2024, and they say, we've spent $1 billion on the mayor of Chicago. No, there's a joke, John Rahm. We've lost $1 billion. We invested $6, and we only have $5. What are we doing here? Why are we investing in these people? Like, even people with unlimited money don't like losing money. And that's what LIV was doing. And they realized, well, let's put an end to this. This isn't trending in the right direction, and it's not growing. It's shrinking.
I bet you LIV could still, or the Saudi investment fund could still fund LIV forever.
Yes.
But it failed. They thought that they were going to have the thing that takes over golf. They're trying to do the same thing in soccer.
Yeah.
And they've, I'd argue, been more successful in soccer, certainly, than they have been in golf. But they thought that they were going to take all the shine.
Tried to buy Messi for $500 million, and he chose Miami.
And on that note, you know, Tiger, kind of a bozo. Decision-making in his personal life, not top-notch.
Questionable, at the very least.
But there's a reason he didn't latch on to LIV. Yeah. And it's not some sort of altruistic, I'm here for the PGA Tour kind of thing. I bet you saw it coming.
I think these players are lucky that it seems like the PGA Tour is just going to welcome them back.
Everybody but one.
Yeah, everybody but one. Poor Phil. But it seems like, well, Greg Norman also, right? But
yeah, but Greg's not playing
anymore. It doesn't matter anymore.
Phil's not really playing anymore either.
But they're going to let John Rahm back in. They're going to let Bryson come back. They're going to let the guys who went to LIV come back and be a part of the tour and be members. And you know what? In that sense, I guess those guys won because they took whatever $200 million to go join up and get their payday, and they stuck with it through 3 years and got to come back with that money still. But it will always be a part of some of their legacies, if anybody can.
Oh, yeah. I think so. I mean, Koepka will say, yeah, my legacy took a hit, but did you see the giant house I have in Palm Beach? Ben, I don't mean to interrupt the show here, but I'm seeing an online rumor that Diana Rossini could go on a podcast soon. The Call Her Daddy podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's the right spot for her.
Yeah, I'm not all that familiar with it, but...
Started out as a Barstool thing, and then whatever the idiot who runs Barstool kind of turned his back on them or whatever, got mad that they got famous. But they've turned into a very good podcast and have had some very huge guests. I mean, I think they've had Michelle Obama on. They've had crazy guests. So... And the woman who hosts it, I should pull up her name, Alex Cooper, has done a fabulous job running the podcast. It's one of the biggest podcasts on the planet. So good for her. I don't listen to it a whole lot.
I'm going to listen to that episode. I'll tell you that.
But that's exactly the thing. Like, you will go and listen to it. She's done a good job getting guests, and then does a really great job when she actually gets those guests on.
Is she the kind of softball type, or is she really going to get into
No, in fact, I think that was... Let me find out what the controversy was. I can't remember who she talked to recently, and people got like really mad at her because she really like got into the questions. Like, she really is like, yeah, dude, I'm not faking this. I know I've kind of got this look. She's kind of got the Barbie doll look. Comes again from Barstool. Has that kind of backstory. It's very, like the branding is all bright pink. So I think people thought like, oh, this is just a goofy, silly thing that they're coming on. And then she gets real guests and she calls them out and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to ask hard questions. So good for her. I think she's a cool person. So I think she'll do a great job with Diana. That's the right place to go.
That's just a rumor, by the way. There's nothing set in stone. But I want to hear her side of the story, Ben.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You already have. It was a girls' trip, bro.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. Quite the girls' trip. No girls.
Some girls' trip, huh?
It was a girl trip. Can you do that? Can you backtrack like that when they ask for photos? Be like, actually, it was a girl trip.
She at least logged on to ChatGPT. It was like, make it look like I'm having fun with the ladies. As a girls' trip, you can generate those photos. And then it's just like all these people had 3 limbs and 8 fingers, and she submitted that to the Athletic. And they're like, Diana,
this isn't real.
There's some issues with these photos.
Rough. Can't wait to hear from her, though. It's going to be amazing. Stay tuned. Don't forget, we're going to talk what's going on in the Big 12, mainly off the field stuff. We're going to talk to Texas Tech writer Don Williams. He's going to join us at 4:30, and then we're excited to talk to our buddy Mike Folta, voice of the Utah Mammoth, live from Vegas, coming up at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. So stay tuned for that. It's the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.